Welcome to Game.
I'm telling you, Jason, I told him to split that episode as soon as we started writing it. I was like, hey, Matthew, this episode is getting really long. We need to split this episode. And it's spilling all kinds of tea because it's talking about Ninja.
Not my fault.
And I was like, we need to split it. And then Matthew's like, no, we're not going to split it. It's just going to be like an 80-minute episode.
It's a weird place to split it. It's a like 1/3, 2/3 division. And personally, I think the last 2/3 is the most exciting part.
Yeah, because it's the part
of
I
the
wrote.
script. No, it's not. Get out of here.
It is, though.
I mean, it's the part
I
that you wrote, but it's also the part that I gave you. I'm like, hey, we should research in this direction. Yes. I'm like, hey, we should research the economic models behind this.
Man, it's not good enough that he's the face of all the channels. He has to take credit for every idea.
I'm not taking credit for everything. I'm saying your writing is great. Stephanie, without exaggeration, is the fastest writing partner that I could ever add. Like, you're really good. I am so slow at writing scripts because I'm just a slow
Matthew's
writer.
Extremely thorough, though.
Yeah, I'm really thorough.
Really, really good.
You say that. The internet would a lot of times beg to differ.
No, he's really thorough, you guys.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome to T-Series. I'm just brewing up some weekend in Singapore from my favorite tea company, TWGT. This is not sponsored. I just really love this company.
So maybe we should catch people up on
We're doing
what
an
was going
episode on Ninja. It's really long, and we should split it into 2 parts because it's so long that I'm afraid.
Also, would you like to talk into your microphone as opposed to over your microphone?
I can't help where this pop filter got put. There we go.
Here,
okay,
wait. They're cardio. Here. I can't reach
Hello?
your C-stand. It's over. It's done. It's over.
Oh no! I'm just gonna carry it away.
It is a hot mess. Welcome to T-Series, the hottest of messes here.
And the hottest of tea.
Also, can we just do a shout out to father of all podcasts, Conan O'Brien, who, according to Variety, is the reason podcasting is a popular format these days.
I've never
Thank you,
heard
Conan
of
O'Brien.
Conan's
Nope,
podcast.
it has nothing to do with the success of like the
Thank
serials
you, Chris.
of
That's
the
very nice
world
of you.
or any of the like ongoing story podcasts.
It's Serial or it's
Serial was-
American whatever. That other one that I never listened to.
American what?
This American Life.
American History X. Yeah, that's a great podcast.
Nope.
Classic podcast, American History X. So anyway, Stephanie was spilling tea on me right now.
Yeah, we have this long episode coming out. It's about Ninja and his decision to move to Mixer. It's a really fun. I enjoyed it. I think it's a really interesting episode. But it's really long, and if we make the episodes too, and everyone's always like, no, don't split episodes, that's the worst, don't do that. But the fact is, if you look at the data, after a certain length, like after about 18 minutes, people don't have that much time to just sit around and watch a video straight through, or at least a lot of them don't. And so we see a lot of drop off after 18 minutes. And so we try to, if they're over 18 minutes, we try and split them. That way everyone can watch them just in chunks, except for lately where they've just been like a half an hour each.
I mean, they have been, but that's like part of the standard on YouTube almost. Videos on YouTube at this point are just so egregiously long.
Yeah, everyone really pads out their videos a bit.
Right? They do. They really pad them out. And I know that people are always like, oh, MatPat artificially extending. It's not. Honestly, the shorter that we can make these things,
we're always trying to make them shorter. We are always trying to make the episode shorter.
It would be cheap. I mean, honestly, it would be cheaper for us too, because we pay all the editors by the minute of video that they work on, right? So that way,
everyone.
So
the longer the video, just the more expensive it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't help us to make the video longer.
No, and then the whole like it's 10 minutes, and so you get bonus. That's all BS. No, but it's one of those things where, like, in order to come up with we've experimented with a lot of different like payment models for our editing team, because we have one guy who's full-time and is kind of like our lead editor, and then we have a bunch of freelance editors who work on our projects, work on other projects, and we have a lot of them because, you know, we just have a lot. It takes forever to make our videos. I cannot express to you the amount of time and effort it takes to edit one of these videos together. And so if you're churning out a 20-minute episode every single week, twice a week, because we're doing it on Film Theory as well, like, it's an egregiously difficult process. And because a video, and we used to pay on the project basis, right? Like, hey, you do this video and you get a set amount of money for doing this video. But the problem is videos just vary in length a lot of times. A lot of times videos can, especially when we first started working with it, like they could be 10 minutes upwards to like now 20, 25 minutes, right? So it's unfair to the editors to say like, oh, you get one set rate.
Yeah.
And so instead we've tried a lot of different models, but the one that I think we've settled on that everyone really likes is pay per the minute. And it's actually more detailed than that. It's actually like rounding based on 15 seconds and are you up and down.
It's still a complicated system.
It's complicated, but it's fair.
Paid, for exactly how much video they make, and sometimes it's easier sections to edit, and sometimes it's harder sections to edit. But it all evens out after a while. And sometimes you luck out, and sometimes you get the really hard section that requires a lot of animation, or sometimes the editors just like go above and beyond. Like, what was the episode? Oh, where they wrote you into an anime. That was
Mark.
So cool. They did an entire
Mark
anime
did a whole
opening.
anime intro. He did the music and everything.
He animated it himself. He did the music. He sang. He did. Sometimes they just like really go above and beyond, and that's awesome. But that evens out sometimes with sections that are like easier.
Yeah, I talked to the editors. I'm like, I really would love to do kind of like a custom anime opening for this with kind of like, goofy over the top and Japanese lyrics and this and that. And we have a lot of like hardcore anime fans on the editing team. And one of them, Mark, who is incredibly talented, he used to work at Fine Brothers and now works with us. And he's also working on, I think, a movie as well right now. And he's kind of doing our stuff in between. But he's like, I got this. This is what I was made for. And it's on the Dr. Stone video over on Film Theory, which unfortunately, no one watched because it's Dr. Stone.
No one knows what Dr. Stone is, but it's a really cool episode, and the intro is
and the
awesome.
intros, I was so thrilled with how it turned out. Yeah. It was one of those like, and a lot of the intros have turned out really well. We did the X-Men intro where we recreated the original X-Men cartoon intro with like members of the team back in the 90s.
I'm excited about this one for the new for the ninja episode. That'll be good too.
It's goofy.
The one where we replicated pitch meetings was also really fun. I think we should just turn our cold opens into like parodies of every other YouTube channel we know.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? Here's the tea, and we are gonna get to spill tea here in a second here. But I guess this is real tea on us. But it is one of those things where the way I see the cold opens is it's harder and harder nowadays to do comedic sketches on YouTube, just because YouTube values longer videos.
Like we said, all the videos are super long.
All the videos are super long.
You can't make a comedic sketch that's like 30 minutes long. Not even sitcoms can do that.
Yeah, I mean, Smosh gets away with a lot of stuff because they have a lot of the like every blank ever, which is a bunch of like small skits all put together into a long form thing.
It's basically a Vine compilation.
It's a Vine compilation, but they've produced it, right? Yeah. So like, I mean, that's the way that you get comedy on YouTube at this point, and it's a tough comedy. It's funny. A couple years ago, animation was the thing that didn't exist on YouTube because it didn't work with the algorithms. Nowadays, like, comedy and comedic sketches is the hardest thing to sustain on the platform.
It's really
fascinating. Whereas that was what the platform was really built on in the early days with like the original days of Smosh and stuff. But anyway, the way I see the cold opens at this point is not only is it like, let's introduce the episode, but I see it a lot of times as our chance to kind of like infuse some level of like comedic sketch.
Let's be funny.
Kind of, it gives, I think, like, I'm shocked that no one did a parody of Ninja's announcement video of him live streaming on, or at least I didn't see any. They might exist out there.
We did.
So we did it.
Yeah.
I had fun with it.
So we'll see.
That's why I just got done filming. That's why my hair's kind of wonky because I had a couple wigs on. Also, if you're concerned, if you're watching this via video format and you're seeing my ARG t-shirt or my ARG sweatshirt, this is not a clue. There are no clues in this video. That's not me trying to misdirect you or anything. It's just I needed a sweatshirt for the Ninja shoot, and then also in honor of our game theory that came out today, all about the ARG that we've been working on for the better part of the last year. So long. We're kind of rounding out towards the end of the ARG. I've been having a lot of meetings over the last couple weeks about kind of the final slate of clues that we're getting to.
It's almost done. Oh my gosh, it's almost over. If you've never given it a try, give it a try or read about it. There's a Discord about it. There's stuff on Reddit about it. It's really fun. And Matthew especially has put incredible amounts of work into it. And we have a whole team that's behind it. So it's totally worth checking out. Anyway,
it's been a lot. It's been great. It's super fun. It's super rewarding. But when your schedule is as busy as Steph and mine is, it's like, oh no, we've bitten off more than we can chew.
Speaking of our busy schedule, we got to get to the tea because we have to actually make this a pretty short stream today.
Good segue there,
so
Steph.
We will get into things.
We have a business friend coming in from out of town, and we have dinner with him at 5:15. So we got to be out of here by 5.
Geriatric dinner. It's actually the only time we could get a reservation, so we have to go and do that. But we are going to be spilling some tea today. We have PewDiePie and Minecraft on the cover. We're going to cover off on a couple of things before that, and the only other personal tea is that our baby got 2 teeth today. Congrats to him,
woo,
little guy.
Oliver. What?
What?
2 teeth.
2 teeth. Okay.
Teeth, man. Teething. It's a crazy thing.
Yeah.
Watching teeth just pop
They're
out.
very upset for like 30 minutes, and then it's like, oh, okay, my tooth is there.
It's wild.
I'm okay.
It's a crazy thing. And it's also weird to think that he's going to lose those teeth.
I know, in a few years.
Yeah, in a couple of years that those teeth just like pop out then.
They don't last.
I ripped out every single one of my teeth, Stephanie.
What?
Yeah.
Of your baby teeth?
Nope.
I
pulled out every single one.
I wiggled like
I wiggled,
business.
but then I pulled because I'm like, you know what?
Like straight out? Oh no.
Oh, I did the whole.
Oh, no.
I did every technique you could.
I tried really hard too. Now that I'm looking back on it, I went to some pretty decent lengths to dig the teeth out of my mouth, but I never like went for the.
Really, you never popped them out?
I mean, I pulled they came out, but I was just mostly like wiggle it to death.
Oh yeah, I got.
Maybe like dig your nail under it a little bit to try.
Yep, I did that. I did a little bit of floss method every once in a while.
Yuck.
Oh yeah, I did a little bit of everything.
Oh no, okay.
Man, that was an unpleasant conversation. So anyway, hey, we got tea, but before we get into the tea, what are you drinking today? I'm drinking unbranded Diet Soda X.
Except it is
from branded cup McDonald's.
Because it's from a McDonald's.
I know. I have my generic blue glass mug here today, but I came from McDonald's, so
yeah, it happens.
Who knows what's inside? You don't know.
All right, ready? What are we starting with?
Oh yeah, you're drinking what? Good Night Singapore.
Weekend in Singapore.
Sorry. Okay, good.
This is so good. It smells so good. Oh my gosh.
What does
all right. Smell it. It smells great.
1 second. I'm smelling the tea. Ooh.
I know.
It's got a little
it's like fruity and effervescent.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so nice.
It's
Okay.
great. Okay. So the tea. Like we said, we have to hop out early today, so we're gonna burn through the tea pretty quickly
I've got
today.
The chat on my phone, so hit us up #GT Live on Twitter, or just hit us up in the chat.
First, this is more just kind of like a quick top of the line thing here, since we're gonna be talking about PewDiePie and Minecraft. First and foremost, congratulations to PewDiePie and Marcia for getting married.
Yeah.
They just got married, or at least it was announced that they got married in the last 24-hour period since this live stream / podcast is happening.
Yep.
Which is huge. I'm so happy for them.
I think they were really smart to wait as long as they did, and also to wait until a point when I think a lot of the drama is behind PewDiePie at this point. And they waited until there was like a calm period. But I think, they looked so pretty. I think so pretty.
I think it's one of those that it's kind of like the best of all situations, because in YouTube, especially when you're making your job on YouTube, there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of instability and a lot of concern over your profitability, over how your videos are doing, over how the audience is reacting to you, this and that.
How long it's going to last.
And right now, PewDiePie is and we'll talk about this with the Minecraft stuff too, but PewDiePie is in this place where it's literally almost the best he's ever been in YouTube, period.
It's kind of crazy.
After having done it for so long, after being #1 for so long, that to swing back around after all the drama and after all the controversies and this and that, to swing back and be on such a high, not only from a viewership perspective, but also just from he's enjoying the Minecraft stuff so much.
He likes it. Public opinion of him is solid,
Right? He's no longer, he's no longer embroiled in controversy. It's great. Honestly, that's the best place to be in, especially for a wedding, right? one of the things, and this is just kind of like, again, getting personal about things, but
getting personal.
Well, I was really resistant to propose to Stephanie because she looks like my brother.
What?
No. Oh, wait, sorry. She looks like my sister. She could be my sister.
Gosh.
Sorry. No, that was bad.
Can't believe it.
No, come back here. No. What? So, no, back in the day, I was really resistant to propose to Stephanie because at the time I didn't have a job, right? I was transitioning out of theater. We were poor in New York. We were about to move to Los Angeles.
You know?
I was literally hiding in Stephanie's apartment a lot of the time. And it was one of those things where I didn't feel it was appropriate for me to propose. And then when we got married, yes, I had just gotten a job, but it was one of those things where, like, it was still early days. Stephanie was my sugar mama. She was the one who was having to carry me and just go on blind faith that, I would be a productive member of human society at some point.
We don't really get a lot of the drama that I think a lot of other people online get. And I know Marzia has even gotten her share of this, where people have accused her of like, oh, you're in a relationship with him because he's popular, because he can help you grow a YouTube channel, because he's made a lot of money, that kind of stuff. And I think that was like earlier days, but I haven't really gotten much of that. There have been maybe like 1 or 2 times ever where I've seen a comment that was like, oh my gosh, look at her, gold digger. And like someone who actually, said that in response to like an Instagram photo or something like that. And I think, people who are together for a long time really do see each other through a lot of ups and downs. And in our case, when we first got together, I was like, especially when we got married, I was the only one with a job, and you were doing the YouTube stuff, and I was helping a little bit on the side, but mostly I was just sort of like keeping a roof over our head and stuff. And I think when you commit to someone, you have to have faith in the other person that they're going to be like a good team member, and that they're going to and that things are going to end up evening out. And the YouTube stuff took off, and now we both work really hard at that, and so I think of us as like teammates in that. But it was the kind of thing where, like, I knew you were a good person, and I knew you worked really hard, and I figured that it would work out.
Well, the reason I bring it up though is because what we tell a lot of people, and I just had this conversation over dinner a couple weeks ago, right, where it's the idea of, hey, there sometimes isn't the perfect time to do stuff, right? Either your work isn't in the right place, or,
sometimes you just have to do it.
You just have to do it
out.
If you don't make the decision to, go through that, like, life is full of doors, right? And if you don't make the decision to go through doors and shut other doors, life makes those decisions for you, and you might wind up in a position that you never wanted to be in the first place, right?
Yeah, when you make a decision to do something big, whether it's get married or start a new job or move to a new place or whatever it is, you also make the decision to not do some other stuff, right? You're always, whenever you make a decision, you're always giving up something else. And you have to be okay with that. But if you don't make that decision, eventually life is just going to decide that, like, hey, you're too old to do whatever, or you don't have the money to do this, or, whatever. So you just have to take advantage of the opportunities when they're there.
Right. And so the kind of the moral of the whole story, right, is for 99% of the world, it's like, hey, timing might not be perfect or whatever, but you care about this person, and it's going to be an amazing time because I love that person. PewDiePie is that lucky 1%, though, where his wedding just so happens to be like the perfect, it seems, at least from the outside perspective, the perfect storm of everything, right? Where it's like, wow, I'm super wealthy and I'm not embroiled in controversy. And also my career is my already super wealthy career. I'm even better than I've ever been. And everything's beautiful in my life. And so, like, the clouds have parted, a rainbow and doves have launched off into the sky. And, and the pictures kind of reflect that, like, oh, this looks great. But I would say, and I think that it's important to say when it comes to, like, just living in reality, is the idea of, that the internet, a lot of times, Instagram, photos, this and that, can give you a skewed perception of what those sorts of moments are supposed to look and feel like.
Oh, totally.
And people are only sharing their best selves and the best pictures and the ones where they look the best and this and that. And I think it sets you up in a lot of cases for disappointment, because as humans, we're always like comparing ourselves to the input that we're seeing around us, right? Yeah. And so if it's like, man, my wedding did not cost that amount of money, or it was not as beautiful as that one, or whatever.
It can set, and all of those big decisions come with these like amazing Instagram moments, and you feel like you have to like live up to the image that everyone else has for those moments in your life. But everyone's moments are different. I just like can't emphasize how important it is to not look at social media and try and base like your decisions or what you think your life should look like in those, especially in those big moments, to what they look like online. And I'm really glad that we didn't have like Instagram accounts when we got married.
Right.
I mean, Instagram was like a thing, but we weren't really paying attention to it, and we just like weren't doing it. So I actually really appreciate that. I think it's nice.
And honestly, I mean, and here's the thing, right? Like, because Steph and I briefly talked about this, but like seeing PewDiePie's wedding pictures reminded me a lot of our wedding, which was really nice.
Really?
And and it made me really happy, because even though I was like literally the government was basically like, we can't take any money from you because that would be evil of us to do so because you are so poor.
Matthew didn't have to pay taxes one year because
I didn't make nearly enough money. They're like, oh, you need every penny that you can scrounge up from the greats, my friend. That is, please take. We would give you some, but we're the government, so we're not going to. No, but that's kind of the situation, right? But I look at our wedding and I'm like, I was so happy.
Oh, that's great.
It was so,
I'm glad.
I wouldn't have had it any other way.
Yay, that's awesome.
Neutral high five.
Aww.
Friendship.
Well, I hear I look like your brother, so I don't want to get too cozy. By the way, that's like the Twitter quote of the month now. Steph, you look like your brother at 0D Longitude.
We get that a lot.
Only for GT Live. At Call Me Claudia. Definitely. Everyone is in it. Great. I'm so glad that that's what we take away from this special moment, everyone. Okay, move on.
So anyway, in the wake of PewDiePie and Martha getting married, for a big congratulations to them. But that segues nicely to what we were kind of alluding to before, which was this whole Minecraft re-explosion on the platform. Yes. Everyone's starting to talk about it, and it's largely... Well, it's a collection of two factors, right? So the first one is what everyone is kind of reporting on, which is PewDiePie playing the game, right? And it's this resurgence of the PewDiePie effect.
The PewDiePie effect is still real, apparently.
Which is great, because we had just talked about it literally in the Google Stadia video, where I'm like, YouTube is ruining gaming, and we're like, hey, remember this PewDiePie effect? It still exists, and then lo and behold, a couple weeks later, he starts playing Minecraft.
I'm not trying to toot our own horn, but we're sometimes pretty prescient about that kind of stuff. Like, we start talking about prescient. There you go. There's an SAT word.
That's a good word, Steph.
Sometimes when we start talking about stuff, a couple weeks or maybe a few months down the line, like a lot of other people start talking about it. Like, one of the big YouTuber issues from last year was creator burnout, right? Everyone was talking about creator burnout. The year, like 6 months before all of that stuff started coming out, or maybe even less, like 4 months before that, we did a big presentation on creator sustainability and creator burnout at VidCon. And it like kicked off the entire like discussion. And it's not
how to build your channel in a way that you're not going to get burned out.
Yeah, it's not that we caused it. It's just that we started talking about it, and then and then it just happened that discussion started, and like we talked about all of the like the earned media stuff when it comes to Stadia, and the PewDiePie effect, and how important Minecraft is to YouTube during that episode. And now like there's this huge takeoff of Minecraft.
I will say
it's just nice. It's just nice.
I will say we did talk about how big Minecraft is and how powerful it is on YouTube before PewDiePie started playing it. I don't know what caused what, but
I think probably he was like, man, I'm making a lot of money right now and I'm kind of bored. I'll pick up the old Minecraft.
I can do whatever.
I'll hang with Sven and
put
him in some dangerous situations and then profit.
No, but so obviously like a big part of this is kind of PewDiePie's impact on getting everyone to play. He experiences tremendous success, and it's the adoption curve, right? He's the early adopter, even though Minecraft is not early anymore. But he's
Can we play
he's a
Minecraft
trendsetter.
on GT Live?
Yeah, do you want? We did that back in the day. We built a working cell phone.
I know, that was really fun. That was so fun. We've actually been watching Minecraft speedruns
Dallas the
lately.
Pizza Girl. Any OG members of the GT Live community remember Dallas the Pizza Girl?
Who delivered pizza that we ordered through Minecraft. It was great.
It was great. That's that's an old school. We set a world record for the biggest selfie in Minecraft.
Yeah.
I think that's probably been broken at this point, but we set a record, which was awesome.
But we've been watching Minecraft speedruns lately, which if you've never seen a Minecraft speedrun, it's actually insane. I love watching them now. I'm so into it.
It's awesome.
Anyway, Minecraft, it's back.
The other thing, though, that I think there's worth calling out here is if you look at the actual Google Trends curve for why Minecraft took off, it's like I said, it's been a two-pronged thing. Obviously, PewDiePie is the thing that's really helped skyrocket it, but it was already in an unusual upheaval. It was already in kind of like a big spiking trajectory leading into PewDiePie doing it because it was its 10-year anniversary, right? And I think that that's something that, unless you're hardcore in that community, like might have gone overlooked or whatever, but the game was already ramping up for a big 10-year kind of like celebration of where it has been and how far it's come in that amount of time. And so looking at Google Trends data, you actually see it already doing the spike upward, and then PewDiePie hits it like right as it's cresting, which then takes it up to a whole nother level. And that's at the perfect time when Fortnite, people are starting to get bored of Fortnite. They were looking for alternatives. And so you see kind of this like really interesting kind of like dual curve of, you know, Minecraft then like accelerating growth as it kind of like sucks away people from the Fortnite crew.
I think it is, actually. I think people are like, Fortnite, okay, like maybe there's only so many ways to play Fortnite at the end of the day, but Minecraft, like we've talked about this before, Minecraft is more than a game. It's a tool. You can use it for so many things. It's a platform in and of itself. It's like a creative sandbox, and it's almost like limitless potential for what you can do with it.
Well, and I think it's also one of those things where, and one of the things that I think we've really seen by doing what we do, right, with the game theories, where our best game theories are the ones that people seem to react to the most, and they're hard to come by because they're hard. You know, it's not like content that you can just like constantly generate. It's like, well, we found this thing, and now we got to find the next big thing. But the ones that seem to get the most reaction are when you discover something in a game that no one's ever thought about before, or like a new detail or new design decision, or you know, an element of the story that largely went over people's heads or went overlooked, right? Suddenly you think you know this thing, but suddenly you're surprised by what you come back to. And I think Minecraft is experiencing this huge success in part because of the 10-year anniversary, in part because of PewDiePie, but I think a lot of it too is 10 years later, you're suddenly getting Minecraft nostalgia, right? I remember
is like almost a generation.
No, it is, and it's not just nostalgia, but it's a surprise in how the game has deepened and evolved and gotten much more robust in that amount of time, right? Mm-hmm. You started playing the game when you were really young, and it, you know, you made your rudimentary structures and you know, your goofy sky blocks or whatever, but you come back 10 years later and you appreciate it on a whole new level. The flexibility of it, the ability to like use redstone to concoct crazy things, the fact that they've added in all these new features and there's more deep story elements to it now. There's, you know, there's new mobs and there's new building supplies and this, like, there's so much now to it that I think a lot of people weren't exposed to or didn't get the chance to like really enjoy and participate in before. So now people have this expectation of what Minecraft is, but coming back to it, you know, seeing people play it online or talk about it online, it's suddenly this idea of like, oh, wow, there's all this here that I either didn't recognize the first time, didn't really understand or appreciate the first time, or that's been added, and now I can go back and appreciate this thing that I loved as a child in a whole new way and, you know, experience it all over again.
It's true. There's a lot to, and there's also a new sense of shareability, I think, of Minecraft, because some of those people who used to play it have now gone on, made completely new friend sets. They're in a completely different stage in their life. And so the ability you have to share Minecraft with like a completely new set of people, or even people who have like gotten older and had a kid in that amount of time, now they can actually play Minecraft with their kid. I mean, we've even talked about this, how like this is the most grown-up lame adult thing ever, but we're like, man, okay, Ollie's 1, so maybe like 3 years or something like that, we could like show him Minecraft and he could play it. It's like playing with digital Legos. Like he already plays with blocks, sort of, and he mostly just knocks them over. But in like a theoretical world, in like a couple of years, he could play Minecraft and we could do it with him, and that would be really fun.
It is,
right?
Yeah. It's interesting, right? Because Steph and I have been. One of the things that I think we're both really proud of for, especially this first year, is that Oliver hasn't had any screen time.
Yeah,
like,
he has 0 screen time.
We're not sitting him in front of little baby bum.
He's allowed to video chat with his grandparents, and that's it. And that's maybe like once every couple weeks or something like that.
Yeah, like maybe like once a month.
But he does not get any computers,
less.
Any TVs, no phones, nothing.
He watched the 5 Little Ducks on little baby bum for like 2 minutes. Less, it's like a minute song. And that would and he was excited about it. And he's like, duck, duck, duck. Whack, whack.
But that was it.
But that was it for like an entire year. And I think, it's one of those things that we talk about. Like, how do you introduce media to a child? What are the pieces of media, video games, videos, whatever, that you're comfortable showing them?
And Minecraft is actually one that I feel like
100%.
would feel okay about.
I would
Not right now, but like later.
Well, because it's modern Legos.
Yeah, exactly.
It's educational. It gets you to think creatively. You have to kind of concoct the story for yourself. Like it's an open world in like the truest sense of the word. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, I think Minecraft is absolutely one of those things that I would totally be comfortable sharing with Oliver.
Yeah.
I've also had this theory. I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts on this. So let me know on the chat or in Twitter.
I've got a few here, like thoughts about Minecraft.
Well, before we do that, let me do this call out to you guys too. I'm curious to get your thoughts. I have this theory I have this idea where I want to introduce Oliver to video games outside of Minecraft, to video games in the order that video games were released, if that makes sense. So basically this idea of, hey, here's a Nintendo, play old school Nintendo games. Hey, here, and then once, he's had a couple of years or whatever playing with Nintendo games, hey, here's a Super Nintendo, play that. Because my thing is, I feel like a lot of the way I behave now and the way I look at video games and this and that, like old school video games are hard, and they force you to get like be really patient, and they force you to like just be comfortable like banging your head against a wall and trying and overcoming a lot of those challenges, right? Like I say it all the time that beating the original Battletoads is still one of the like most memorable gamer achievements I've ever had in my life. But nowadays with save states and so many checkpoints and this and that, it's a lot easier. Like old school difficult is a thing for a reason. And so I wonder if it would help him appreciate like the oldies, but then also help him kind of learn like is that stupid of me?
Let me TLDR
is that
this.
Stupid
Matthew
of me?
Wants to torture our kid by making him play through the original NES titles with like no save states, no emulators, nothing, just so he can get really frustrated about it.
No, it's not so he can get really frustrated about it.
That's the translation of what's going on.
It's so
here.
he can, I don't know.
I won't let him do it.
Here's the thing. Back before we live where we currently live, we lived in an apartment complex, and there was a kid who lived nearby. He was in middle school. Great guy, super nice. His name was Garrett. He's in one of the very old episodes of Game Theory, in fact. Mm-hmm. But what was that? There's people on our...
Oh my gosh, there's someone on the roof.
There's someone on the roof right now. What the heck is going on? That is very alarming.
Huh.
I am very concerned about the stability of this roof.
Hey, Jason.
Will you go like...
Can you tell someone, whoever's on our roof, that we're filming?
Not be on the roof. And that they probably shouldn't be on our roof. And that was scary.
Thanks, Chris.
So don't get hurt, buddy. Go, if you need to take a broomstick, take the broomstick.
Smack him down.
Use a broomstick.
Poke him.
It's a weird day on the live stream.
It's a weird day on the live stream.
But anyway about Garrett, right? Garrett, I tried to show him, or I kind of like gave him like, hey, here's Mega Man X. Like this is a classic. This is a pivotal game that is like beloved by generations of people. Couldn't get past the tutorial. couldn't care less about getting like he was someone who was born and raised on like the Call of Duties and stuff of the world, and he's like, I don't care. Like he just gave up. It was just kind of frustrating and sad. And so like I feel like there is something to be said. And if you're presented with like modern graphics and this and that, I totally see why you would not want to necessarily engage with like old school games. And I think that's sad. I want to teach my child the classic stuff.
I like this comment about this issue. At Clayfaye on Twitter says, there are old games that are perfectly fine even nowadays. No need to go Nintendo hard to go Nintendo.
Ooh, that's deep.
Ooh, I like that. I think that's a really good compromise. You may have solved our problem. Okay. And also, Nico, losing his mind, says, get off the dang roof. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, please. Get out of quiet down up there, you kiddies.
It literally was a bunch of kids.
Was it? Was it a bunch of kids?
Come on.
Were they the skateboarders?
They were on scooters.
Oh, they were scooters today.
We have a lot of skaters who like hang out on our roof.
I was here
Very
over the
weird.
weekend. About like a month ago, and I was here alone, right? I was just working out of the office, and all of a sudden I just hear like random noises happening. It was the first time that I had ever heard any of this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on right now? Like it freaked me out so badly. And then, I'm like, I look outside and I'm like, oh, there's skateboarders on the roof, but there were a lot of them.
Yeah.
And they were like older teenagers, and I'm like, they might beat me up. So I just put on my headphones and cranked up the volume. I'm like, I'm just gonna work a little bit louder now.
Oh man, high school Matthew comes back. I might get beat up. I better leave these kids alone. All right.
That's
Okay.
harsh, Stephanie.
So anything else about Minecraft?
So anyway, I think in general, like the takeaway of this whole thing, right? It's cool to see PewDiePie playing it. I think it's really fascinating that it has brought back this era of, that trickle down of like, here's the big channel and everyone else kind of like follows on the trend. It's cool to see collaborations happening again. I think the other thing I will say, and I think Minecraft is just such a positive game, and it's such a creative and like fun game that you see a lot of the comment sections on all these videos, our videos included, where people are talking about the game and they're just excited and positive to engage with it. And it's really cool to see. Like it's positive in a way that a lot of other like game franchises a lot of times don't engender, and that's nice. Hopefully it doesn't get too toxic in there. Oh no, we've ruined Minecraft. There's nothing sacred.
I know, right?
The last thing I want to say about it though too is I think it's what's most fascinating is watching a lot of the Fortnite channels starting to mix in Minecraft. I think that's fascinating because
they're testing it out.
Because here's the thing, right? Over the last 2 years, with the huge surge in with the huge surge in Fortnite, channels were made literally in a year. Literally in a matter of months, they went from like, a couple thousand subscribers, maybe, like they've been grinding away at it or whatever, and all of a sudden they take off into the stratosphere. Ninja is a great example of this, right? And we talk about this in this episode where it's like 8 years of grinding away, doing his thing, playing games, but all it takes is the right place at the right time, playing the right game, and boom, all of a sudden he's a worldwide phenomenon set for life.
Yeah.
And that's like a good year, right? We talk about kind of how his numbers peter out after 2018, but it's one of those things where like that's what it took. But sustainability is the tough part of that, right? Where it's like, great, you have an amazing year, but that's 1 year. How do you turn that
into an amazing 10 years? I mean, Ninja doesn't need to do it, but other people do. So it's one of those things where a lot of these Fortnite channels who are like, oh man, I hoped Fortnite would be popular forever, but whoops, it's not going to be. So they have to figure it out. And so when they're not playing Fortnite, I bet a lot of them are like figuring out the Minecraft stuff.
Well, that's the thing, right? They have to find out what is the next big game that is just like the game that everyone needs to play right now. And because of PewDiePie and because of all these factors, it's Minecraft. And so you see them mixing Minecraft into their schedules, and a lot of them are having a lot of success with it. I think it's fascinating, though, that those two games are the ones that are kind of synergizing together.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, when people get tired of Minecraft, where does it go to? I
mean, Minecraft has had some unbelievable sustainability. It's gone up and down, but like it's actually hung in there really, really well.
I think the thing that's most fascinating, though, is a lot of what it takes is just a couple of large creators getting together and saying, this is like, I think that's, someone needs to do this, right? Where it's like a couple large creators get together and be like, this is the game. We're all going to play this at the same time. We're going to supercharge it. And, we've created the trend that then trickles down from there.
So here's a question. Minecraft is owned by Microsoft.
FNAF. That's the one.
Yeah, totally.
We're all going to get together and play FNAF.
Been there, done that.
FNAF is going to have a big resurgence. People are going to be nostalgic for, I remember the first FNAF. I'd love to see the Fortniters play FNAF. That would be so funny. It would be so
That would
dumb.
actually be really good.
Right? It would be really good. It would be super dumb. I just like the concept of a lot of the Fortniters playing indie games. I think that's just a fun world to imagine in my mind.
I think so too.
Anyway, sorry, you were saying.
Last question is Minecraft is owned by Microsoft. Ninja was just bought over to Mixer, which is also owned by Microsoft. Is Microsoft going to be like, hey Ninja, switch to playing Minecraft, and so we just bought you. Now you have to play our game.
Huh. That's fascinating. I could see that. I mean, here's the thing.
It's a theory.
He has to play Fortnite because, again, looking at the statistics for Ninja, he's really struggled to get his audience to watch him play things other than Fortnite.
Minecraft? I don't have any data.
Not that I know of.
Twitch Tracker actually keeps amazing track of like the games that Twitch streamers play, but I don't think he's actually played Minecraft.
I don't think so either. I'd have to look at Twitch Tracker. He's always been more of a first and third person shooter.
Yeah, I know it's not really his bag, but
I mean,
if a lot of the Fortniters are switching over to it, I could totally see him going in that direction.
I'm willing to let Minecraft. I'm just thinking. I'm willing to let Minecraft ride on for another month or two.
Yeah.
But FNAF, man, end of the year FNAF trend. Bring back the nostalgia. That'd be so funny. That would be so. Not even for our own sake. I just think it would be hilarious to do. Anyway, so that's PewDiePie Minecraft and just the general trend of Minecraft here on YouTube. It's been fun. I think it's fun. I think it's refreshing. I think a lot of people feel refreshed. It feels it's a bell jar, right? Like a bell jar is a jar, and you have where
are you going with this?
I was gonna say that YouTube, for a lot of, I think, gamers, especially if you're not playing Fortnite, for the last year has felt a bit like a bell jar, right? Where you're in it, but you're kind of slowly suffocating because
oh my gosh, this is dark.
Well, no, because things are stagnating, right? Because it's one game that you play over and over again, and unless you're playing,
you feel trapped in Fortnite.
Kind of, yeah, where it felt like things were at a standstill, they were trapped in a vacuum chamber or bell jar or whatever, and you see it, and you're like, all right, but it's still that same game. And yes, there are small iterations to it and this and that, but it was a very stagnant ecosystem. And now, for some reason, the resurgence of Minecraft makes it feel like it's no longer stagnant. It feels like people are excited again and kind of refreshed to kind of come back and do their best work.
Yeah,
do gaming.
It actually is, it's nice. It's nice. And we know a lot of the old school Minecraft channels too, so I hope they're benefiting from it.
It seems like they are. I know Captain Sparkles went on Twitter to say it's his best month in years at this point, which is great for him.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, Minecraft, super fun. Do you like playing it? Are you excited that it's back?
So a lot of people told us already on Twitter that
Yeah, here, hop over to the twit, Steph.
So it's I wanted to find all the people who were like, oh yeah, I've been inspired to play Minecraft again. At Mohammed S-Ban says, Mohammed is Minecraft. I'm reading your name. Minecraft has evolved. As someone who played it as a child, I love it. It's been a great ride, and I'm curious to see it evolve in the future.
Right.
Let's see. A lot of people have been saying oh, I remember it. I now want to play it again. Yeah, there's actually a bunch of people who have been like, oh yeah, I really am excited to see Minecraft again. Nico's losing his mind. I want to see Ollie play Minecraft. That would be cute.
Give it a couple years.
Yeah.
FGTV, here we come.
Right. All right, next.
We don't have that much time, Steph, right? It's 4:50.
We should just kind of
power through these, right? So real quick, let's talk about all the movie news that just happened. So right before this live stream, and we're trying to get familiar with it because this is big stuff, right? Obviously, we have film theory, so this is all really interesting to us. There's going to be a fourth Matrix movie.
Crazy.
With Keanu Reeves, who's breathtaking, I hear. He's breathtaking.
We're all breathtaking.
We are all breathtaking. So Keanu Reeves is going to be in a fourth Matrix movie, and also this whole rigmarole about Spider-Man leaving the MCU.
Right? This is crazy.
So there's a lot of big movie news happening. So first and foremost, we'll get, since we have a limited amount of time, let's do some hot takes here. First off, about The Matrix, before we get to Spider-Man.
I'm really doubtful. The first Matrix was awesome. The other two were like, ugh. And I'm really not confident in how they're going to handle the fourth Matrix.
What, you didn't like the 15-minute expositional scene with the architect explaining everything to you, but not really explaining it?
And it's all allegorical. And yeah, I don't know if I can get on board.
What, you didn't like the twins with their huge dreadlocks?
Oh yeah, they were a thing.
They were
I
a
forgot
thing.
about that.
Or
Oh,
Machine
man.
Baby in Matrix 3.
Jeez.
Machine Baby and him losing his eyes and now he's blind and
Oh yeah, I can't.
now he's an even more Christ-like figure than he already was.
Yeah, get rid of this thing. No, we gotta get out.
What do you think, Chris? You're a movie nerd.
I am totally down for Matrix 4.
Really? I mean, I'll see it. I know that I'll see it, and I will hope for the best, but I will expect the worst.
I mean, I guess the thing is, with something like The Matrix, same with Harry Potter at this point, I'll see all of them because I love the universe, and I don't expect it to be good anymore, but I want to revel in the world.
Yeah.
I get
I
that.
think that's a fair point. I think that's a fair point to say because The Matrix the original set up the world so well that it did carry me through at least wanting to see 2 and 3, but I don't have a lot of faith that they're going to do a great job bringing it back.
Yeah, the story ultimately, and it's interesting, right? I feel the way Chris is kind of expressing himself about a lot of franchises at this point in general, where I love the initial premise, I love the world that's been created, but I'm really kind of bummed out about the stories that they're either choosing to tell in those worlds or where those stories ultimately went to, right? So Steph and I are currently in the middle of Handmaid's Tale Season 3, which is a show that we would never talk about on Film Theory. It's just a really good show.
It's a great show, but it's not brand safe.
It's definitely not brand safe. It's definitely for super, super mature audience. Even us,
Yeah,
we're uncomfortable
super
watching it
mature
a lot of times.
audiences, yeah.
But the world and situations that it presents are really fascinating.
They're really interesting.
But the third season decides to take a lot, and it's I want to watch this world, I want to see these stories, but then it chooses to tell the wrong stories or take the story in a direction and it's oh, I don't want that.
Yep.
Harry Potter I think is a great example of that, where obviously Harry Potter is one of the most beautiful, fantastical, magical, imaginative fictional universes out there. But do I really want to hear about this political intrigue of Grindelwald and the Fantastic Beasts? Do I want to follow Newt Scamander's adventures?
I don't want to follow Newt Scamander. That's the problem. The other stuff I actually think is pretty interesting is the characters that we're following, but not really following because they are not actually the main characters in their own story. That's the problem for me. Again, I like the world. I just don't like how it's being done.
Yeah, the stories that are being told aren't particularly
Chris,
interesting.
have you seen the rest of the season of Handmaid's Tale?
I haven't. That's a bummer to hear. I've seen the first 3 or 4 episodes of the third
There's a bit of
season.
a mid-season slump.
We're 7 in and it's rough. I'm hoping it picks up.
Apparently it picks up at the end.
It's rough, but I mean that's a lot of these fictional universes, and I think you're totally right to say that The Matrix is another one where The Matrix is a fascinating world that presents a lot of really interesting things to think about and talk about and do theories on, but Matrixes 2 and 3 they were fun for the spectacle. I love the Mr. Smith fights. I thought that they were really cool, but they got a little bit too far up their own behinds, I think, in a lot of cases. And so I'm curious what they'll do with it. I'm hopeful for what they'll do with it. Do I think it'll necessarily be good? Track record doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot here.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's kind of how I feel about Marvel at this point too, where Marvel has a lot of goodwill for me. I love Marvel, and
Oh
I
my
think
gosh, yeah, I
every
would
single
see,
one of their movies,
eight more Marvel movies, even if they all were terrible.
right? And do I care about the Elementals or a Black Widow prequel, whatever, and all the stuff that's not particularly,
Maybe.
but I want to exist in that world and I want to see it. So I'm not saying that Marvel's dropped the ball on storytelling at all. They haven't. They're one of the ones that's created a universe that I'm just really excited to see and live in and experience, even if the headline title or the character
Yeah.
isn't something I'm excited
So
about.
are you worried about Spider-Man?
Am I worried about Spider-Man? You know,
We have to go.
Yeah, I know we got to go real quick. The Spider-Man thing is a bummer, right? So for those of you who don't know, Sony owns the rights to cinematic Spider-Man, right? So even though Disney owns Marvel and most of the characters, Spider-Man's always been in a weird place where Spider-Man is owned, at least when it comes to the movies, by Sony. And so when Spider-Man started to get mixed into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that was a licensing agreement with Sony.
So basically, Disney makes the movies because they own Marvel. So like Disney and Marvel make the movies, and then Sony gets paid out on from all of the money that the movies make. If Spider-Man is in the movie, they get a share of what that movie made, and that can sometimes be huge numbers because obviously Marvel movies do really, really, really well. But Disney was basically like, hey, we're making you so much money and you're doing no work, so you need to contribute to the making of these movies. Like, you need to help us pay for these movies. They cost hundreds of millions of dollars, and you're still going to make money at the end of the day, but you need to like help us
foot the bill, basically.
Yeah, you have to like pick up the tab here. Come on. And Sony was like, I don't think so. We're just here to profit on the back end. And so, I mean, I think the only person who really loses either way, because these are both mega corporations, right? It's hard to feel bad for either one of them, but the people who lose out at the end of the day are the fans, because if people aren't free to use the Spider-Man character, it means that he can't be used like to the best advantage in storytelling and from a creative perspective. And so I think that between Sony and Disney, the loser is going to be the audience.
Right. I think, yeah. And honestly, I do feel pretty bad for, I mean, as much as it is, I feel bad for Disney. Like, Disney owns the world, so I can't feel that bad for Disney.
Disney Plus comes out and they try to kill YouTube. Then you'll be singing a different tune.
I'm already mad at them because they're trying to do the whole crackdown on people using the login multiple times. They're trying to be like, we're going to figure out how to do that and crack down on. So that's already kind of a shady move on their part. It's not shady.
You mean me and 200 of my closest friends can't share the
No.
same Disney Plus
I know,
login?
it
Darn
sucks.
it.
But it's one of those. But I do feel bad, right? Because you're totally right. They're doing all the heavy lifting on these Spider-Man movies. Made him again like a huge household name. I mean, he's always been, but like made him a huge celebrity. Really tied a lot of their cinematic universe into Spider-Man as kind of like taking the torch left behind by Tony Stark and Iron Man. And then for that to suddenly like disappear because of contract negotiation, like that sucks.
I know.
Like, I feel bad. Into the Spider-Verse complicates things, because I think if Into the Spider-Verse had done poorly, Sony would have been like, yep,
Yeah.
we'll kowtow, we'll concede. But because Into the Spider-Verse proved that they're like, hey, we can actually make a decent Spider-Man movie on our own.
And it was great.
And it was amazing. I think now they're like, oh, do we really need this? Hey, you made Spider-Man popular. We're just gonna
We're just gonna skim off the top. Okay, we gotta go.
It's a bummer. So anyway,
All right, so that was the tea for today. It was a little
Yeah, I
bit
know
of
we
a
gotta
short.
run.
It was a short sip. We will be back tomorrow, Thursday. We'll be back Thursday.
I'll be back Thursday. You won't be here.
Yeah,
I'm going
Matthew
solo.
will be here. I have to
Maybe
go
with
on
Chris.
a trip, but I will miss all of you, and we will see you next time.
Yes, we'll see you next time. There's a brand new game theory that launched a couple hours ago.
Go watch it.
On
Go support it.
This whole thing, all the secrets that we've been seeding into our videos over the last year, really. So go check them out, especially clues that we've hidden on the live stream.
Yes.
We kind of decode some of those. That's in part 2, but it's happening. But anyway, so go check that out. And if you'll excuse us, we have to go run to this meeting. But we love you. We'll see you on. I'll see you on Thursday. And until then, remember, that's just the T series. Thanks for putting up with my failure to come up with a good catchphrase.
Ching. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.